The documentary opens with a shocking revelation that no one expected. Sean "Diddy" Combs had been filming himself in a hotel room in New York in the days leading up to his arrest. The footage shows him pacing and speaking with his lawyers, meticulously discussing strategy and detailing exactly how he wanted the dirtiest, most loyal people around him. He argues with the legal team, insisting that nothing they're doing is working and expressing frustration that everyone seems to be losing focus. The tension in his voice is palpable, as though he knows the stakes are life-changing. What makes this even more astonishing is that Diddy appeared completely aware of the camera, almost as if he was documenting his own version of history. Yet, despite all this, he seemed confident that none of it would ever see the light of day. But fate had other plans. Somehow, this footage ended up in the hands of his rival, Curtis "50 Cent" Jackson, who turned it into the centerpiece of his Netflix documentary. The irony is sharp. Diddy's careful attempt to control his public image, to manipulate perception, backfired spectacularly, exposing him in ways no one could have predicted. The video portrays a man who is both commanding and vulnerable, a glimpse behind the carefully curated persona he presents to the world, and it immediately raises the question, was Diddy documenting for posterity, or did he simply underestimate the reach of those around him? And, as the footage continues to roll, viewers realize that the story is just beginning, and what follows will reveal layers of complexity and controversy about Diddy's rise to power. The narrative then shifts backward, deep into Diddy's formative years, exposing the powerful influence of his mother, Janice Combs. After Diddy's father, a known Harlem drug dealer, passed away while Diddy was just a toddler, Janice became the central force in his life. Interviews with childhood friends paint a picture of a household dominated by adult behavior, chaotic parties, and early exposure to risky environments. At these gatherings, young Diddy witnessed activities that no child should ever see, from drug use to sexual situations. Tim Patterson, a close friend from that period, explains how these events desensitized the children present and normalized behavior that would later surface in Diddy's adult life. The documentary delves further, alleging that Janice not only controlled the environment, but actively shaped Diddy's personality, teaching him aggression, strategic thinking, and an unyielding drive to dominate any space he entered. Accounts suggest she even subjected Diddy to physical abuse under the influence of drugs, which compounded the psychological imprint she left on him. Her modeling agency, intertwined with controversial activities, further exposed him to a world of power, manipulation, and adult behavior. The documentary carefully constructs the idea that Diddy's public persona, the sharp, calculating figure commanding the music world, may have originated as much from his mother's actions as from his own ambition. By exploring Janice's role, the series highlights the intersection of nurture, trauma, and opportunity, painting a compelling yet disturbing portrait of the young man who would eventually become a dominant figure in hip-hop. This section leaves viewers grappling with a fundamental question: how much of Diddy's rise is talent, and how much is a reflection of the environment that molded him? The story advances into Diddy's adult life, focusing on his control over Bad Boy Entertainment and, more importantly, the critical role his mother played in this empire. Interviews reveal that while Diddy was the public face of Bad Boy, Janice held the real power, managing finances, legal documents, and the behind-the-scenes maneuvering that kept the company insulated from legal and financial exposure. Diddy, ever strategic, signed over critical ownership documents to his mother, creating a protective layer that shielded him from liability while maintaining plausible deniability. This tactic illustrates his ruthless approach to business, always ensuring that someone else could absorb the fallout if things went wrong. The documentary presents first-hand accounts from former associates and insiders, exposing patterns of unpaid artists, withheld earnings, and manipulative business dealings that reinforced Diddy's image as a dominant but uncompromising figure. Beyond the financial control, Janice's presence instilled in Diddy a mindset of never backing down, of always maintaining leverage, and of exploiting every opportunity to consolidate power. By framing his mother as both a mentor and a co-strategist, the documentary portrays Bad Boy not just as a music label, but as a carefully orchestrated machine where every move is calculated and every decision is influenced by the lessons learned from his childhood. Viewers are left with the understanding that Diddy's empire, its glitz, glamour, and ruthless efficiency, is inseparable from the maternal influence that shaped both his morality and his methodology, making this section one of the most compelling in the series. The narrative then turns to a pivotal moment that exemplifies Diddy's disregard for public safety in pursuit of his ambitions: the 1991 charity basketball game at City College. According to first-hand reports, Diddy failed to implement adequate security, ignoring repeated warnings that a crowd surge could lead to disaster. As fans rushed the entrance, a stampede ensued, resulting in the deaths of 9 people. Security personnel described the chaos in vivid detail: attempts to control the crowd, opening doors to relieve pressure, and witnessing fans collapsing in the melee. This tragedy, though occurring in the name of charity, exposed a crucial aspect of Diddy's mindset: a willingness to prioritize spectacle over safety, influence over responsibility. The documentary suggests this incident influenced his later reliance on his mother for both protection and strategic guidance, embedding in him a deep-seated understanding of how to manipulate structures and people to minimize personal risk. The footage and interviews provide chilling insight into how decisions made in moments of apparent control can have catastrophic outcomes. The documentary does not shy away from the most controversial claims in hip-hop history, delving into allegations connecting Diddy to the deaths of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls. Former gang member Keef D alleges that Diddy solicited him to target Tupac for $1 million, though the payment was allegedly never completed. Investigators confirm interviews and immunity deals, but the passage of time complicates legal accountability. The film presents these claims alongside contextual evidence and statements from law enforcement, highlighting the fear and loyalty that prevented witnesses from coming forward. Interviews emphasize that while direct prosecution remains elusive, the allegations alone reveal a web of influence, intimidation, and strategic manipulation. The narrative also addresses Biggie's relocation to Los Angeles, forced at Diddy's insistence, which led to the circumstances surrounding his eventual death. By presenting multiple perspectives, the documentary constructs a portrait of Diddy as a man whose actions reverberated across the hip-hop community. The focus shifts to Diddy's courtroom battles and the intricate strategies used to secure favorable outcomes. The documentary details how Diddy's team profiled jurors, notably Juror 160, whose fan behavior allegedly influenced her perception during the trial. Netflix footage and interviews reveal how celebrity culture and psychological profiling intersected with the legal process, shaping verdicts in subtle but powerful ways. Jury consultants, body language analysis, and careful planning illustrate a meticulously orchestrated approach to courtroom dynamics, revealing how Diddy leveraged fame, charisma, and strategic insight to sway opinions. Insights from co-founders, former employees, and legal analysts provide a rare look at how wealth and influence intersect with justice. The series emphasizes that these tactics were not just about winning cases, they were about control, narrative management, and ensuring the survival of Bad Boy entertainment. By presenting a detailed, almost forensic examination of the courtroom, the documentary immerses viewers in a. The series continues by examining Diddy's personal life, including controversial relationships with partners and his mother. Witnesses recount incidents of domestic abuse, manipulative behavior, and complex interactions that blurred the lines between familial and inappropriate dynamics. The film carefully frames these allegations with interviews, eyewitness accounts, and analysis, avoiding sensationalism while presenting the gravity of the claims. Discussions of relationships with young artists, notably Cassie, are juxtaposed with testimonies about mentorship, influence, and control, illustrating a pattern of power dynamics and coercion. Observers reflect on how Diddy's upbringing and exposure to aggressive, adult behavior contributed to his interpersonal relationships, painting a layered portrait of a man whose personal and professional lives were intertwined in ways that often conflicted with conventional morality. The narrative maintains a tone of intrigue, drawing viewers into the complexities of human behavior, psychological conditioning, and the ways early. Finally, the documentary explores how 50 Cent obtained the exclusive footage that underpins the series, largely due to Diddy's failure to compensate employees who had captured it. Legal battles ensued, with cease and desist letters and public statements framing the documentary as a targeted exposé. Netflix initially proposed a series with Diddy, but creative control disputes led to 50 Cent taking over production, turning it into a narrative that Diddy could not manage. The documentary examines the broader implications of narrative control, media power, and celebrity influence, showing how secrets, vendettas, and personal rivalries shape public perception. Closing interviews reflect on how Diddy's efforts to suppress the documentary reveal a tension between image, truth, and accountability. The audience is left with a sense that the revelations are just the beginning, as the series peels back layers of influence, secrecy, and ambition, ultimately